Dreams are still necessary. Without dreams, it's like walking dead. And Lin Yi, on the other hand, is determined to take the ordinary path and venture into the table tennis world, becoming the formidable demon king that everyone fears. Keywords of the novel. Table Tennis World Demon King. No pop-ups. Complete collection download of Table Tennis World Demon King TXT. Latest chapter reading of Table Tennis World Demon King. Chapter 1. Handsome Non-Mainstream Youth. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Handsome non-mainstream youth, fly for me. You're quite impressive. You've also equipped a teleportation for the cow's head. If you give it to Yi Fei again, the great mage will be silent. Can you still run? Keep flying, let you snatch my cow's head. Are you still snatching it? Are you still snatching it? The young man holding a cigarette flipped his hands, and under his control, the keyboard and mouse did not make much sound, but the frequency was very fast. Combined with the recording software in the upper right corner, the APM was as high as 260. Behind the sofa he was sitting on, there were several spectators standing, some adults and some with green-looking faces, but no one made a sound. They were all focused on the screen, afraid of affecting the boy's operation. Even if a boy who looks like a high school student is exposed to smoke from the wind, he is unwilling to move his steps for fear of missing out on details. Dang 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 dang. At this moment, Nokia's classic ringtone rang, and the high-tech boy in front of the computer was startled as he slipped his hand and was seized by the other person. Several heroes belonging to the youth on the screen were charged to death. The youth muttered, released the mouse with his right hand, quickly picked up the phone, held it in his ear, and began to crackle and operate the keyboard and mouse in an attempt to make a final resistance. Unfortunately, everything was in vain, and the opportunity for a master to fight was only in the blink of an eye. You, I'm in the internet cafe. The billiards hall has been abused again. I'm almost done with this game, I'll go over soon. Hanging up the phone, the young man looked at the heroes on the screen all hanging up, and couldn't help but feel a wave of annoyance. Prepare to go to the billiards hall later and perform well in all directions. Just as he was thinking about how to lose quickly without losing face. The chat on the left side of the screen started scrolling, and the opponent kept typing. Ha ha ha, I'm laughing to death. You can even interrupt your skills, isn't it that excessive masturbation affects your reaction speed? The young man saw this anger and immediately cracked the keyboard to counterattack. 1v1 DJ boy. Don't be crazy, I'm calling, otherwise you wouldn't have had a chance. It happens that there's something to do today, so I won't call for now. Pretending to have something to do if you're about to lose. I've used this trick since I was in 3rd grade of elementary school, and it's no longer fun to use it after graduating from elementary school, because people with normal intelligence can see through it. 1v1 DJ boy. Fuck off your mother's dog. My friend scared me when he called and broke his skills. He has an urgent matter on his end. Let's do this today and make an appointment when he has time. Okay, send me a text message then. Anyway, my store is not busy. The audience dispersed as soon as they saw that there was no more excitement. A few people returned to their seats and clicked on Haofang, as if watching the expert play games made them feel itchy. A few high school boys didn't rush to get on the computer, but instead whispered together, "That's Yin Zhen, right? I remember that's his ID. Silly, I haven't picked up my Warcraft ID casually yet. But their operation is so impressive, it must be Yin Zhen. I have seen his video recording. Yes, I think so too. It's amazing. That brother can fight Yin Zhen back and forth. He seems to have graduated from our school. It should be, I remember him. He also played basketball very well, and he was on the school football team. He was particularly strong in sports and played games well. He was really amazing." The boy who just said he might be impersonating waved his hand impatiently and said, "Hurry up and get on the computer." I've been watching for a while and I don't have time anymore. My mom and I told her to come out for tutoring, and we still have to go home at 4 o'clock. At this moment, the young man who was just being watched disdainfully glanced at several students who were deceiving their parents, and even used deceit to deceive their parents. High school sophomores just can't do it. He tidied up for a moment before getting up and thinking of his phone. He turned around and strode towards the door with his horse in his hand. He turned to the girl at the bar and shouted, "Sister, help me get the cart off." "Okay, how about leaving so early? If I have something to do today, why don't I wait for you to hand over your shift before leaving? Seeing you makes me feel good." Poor-mouthed. The bar girl covered her mouth, smiled, and waved her hand, seeming impatient, if she didn't smile. Stepping out of the internet cafe and looking back at the colorful posters of CS Warcraft and other games on the floor-to-ceiling glass, the young man felt like he had passed away. Although it's just a wall gap, internet cafes are completely different from the outside world. The afternoon sunshine made him squint his eyes, and his neither big nor small eyes formed a line. The purple medium-length hair crossed my ears and eyebrows, and I trembled as I walked. My feet were 1.8 meters tall and my feet were 1.78 meters low. When passers-by saw this kind of respect, they all shook their heads and couldn't accept this kind of new human. Upon closer inspection, although the young man's eyes were not large, they were bright and lively, as if he could speak. His watery inner eyelids were shrouded in a layer of mist, and upon closer inspection, he would be drawn to this innate melancholic temperament. There is a mole under the left eye, which is called a tear mole. The elderly say that this person has a delicate mind, a rough voice, and a lot of sadness, so it is called a tear mole. Lin Yi disdained this statement. When he first heard it, he even wrote, "My fate is determined by me, not by heaven," on his backpack. Occasionally, a few cute students saw Lin Yi's honor and immediately let him go. They also carefully murmured in a low voice, "Non-mainstream." However, he found that the female classmate who went to the tutoring class together did not respond. Upon seeing the girl staring at the non-mainstream person, the good baby secretly cursed the girl for being superficial and liking little rascals. Lin Yi's nose bridge is firm, his lips are red and his teeth are white, coupled with his talkative eyes, his entire facial features are good. His hairstyle is not sharp, so few people will carefully observe him. After all, this type of design usually involves several people riding a broken motorcycle, browsing the internet, occasionally dancing ghost steps in crowded places, or even bringing their own lime. "Louis Yang, let's go. It's getting late for tutoring later." The girl reluctantly withdrew her gaze as the well-behaved baby student spoke out to remind her. The Ingtu Internet Cafe and Signage Billiards Hall are both located on the pedestrian street, not far away. It's only a few minutes' walk if you walk quickly. Along the way, various milk tea shops, Japanese-style simple meals, and Western fast food were still considered fresh and entertaining in this era. Just a few slices of frozen beef topped with some Western-style sauce can be sold for around 10 to 20 yuan, and even the miso soup, which is like boiling water, is not given as a gift. It sells quite well, and the shop is full of people who are hungry while shopping and high school students who don't care about money for lunch. Lin Yi looked at him with disdain, and his feet quickened a bit. Lin Yi doesn't like to follow trends, but he doesn't know that avoiding all trendy elements too much is no different from chasing trends, both are used to showcase his personality. Listening to Avril Lavigne's Petty Bourgeois Youth and listening to Jackie Chung, there is no distinction between high and low status. He looks down on those guys who love to join in the fun and follow the trend, little do he know that in the eyes of those people, he is also a despised object. Seeing each other and feeling disgusted is like this. Of course, in the eyes of parents, neither type of person is a good child, after all, everything is inferior except for education. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Breaking Up and Breaking Up. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Breaking up after the new millennium, due to industrial upgrading, the old industrial base has visibly declined. However, after all, the foundation of many years is still there. At this time, Bagua Chunqing is not inferior to some big cities, and the pedestrian street is even more bustling. Lin Yi's shop is adorned with posters of handsome men and beautiful women as spokespersons. These are all big brands, and sportswear is mainstream. There are several XX sports cities on one street. And those individual merchants are mostly grid shops, 3 to 5 square meters per room, displaying colorful and novel products, or printing some beautiful clothes, combined with various street vendors shouting, exuding vitality everywhere. At the foot of the high-rise commercial building, Lin Yi walked to the side elevator with a familiar light car. Seeing that the elevator was running, the lazy boy went straight up the fire stairs on the side. Fortunately, the billiards hall is on the 3rd floor. As soon as they entered the familiar front desk, they greeted Lin Yi with a smile and pointed to the position inside. "Your friend has been losing, the opponent is very strong." "I haven't come yet," Lin Yi revealed his 8 sworn teeth and walked inside with a smile. The entire billiards hall is divided into 2 sides at the entrance, with only a few national standard tables on the right and 2 snooker tables, while there are over 20 national standard tables on the left. There is also a high school and university near the commercial street, so there is no need to worry about business. Lin Yi avoided the ball players with various strange postures all the way and finally walked to the corner to find his friend. "How did you come?" Complaints about the taste of oysters followed. Lin Yi ignored and took off his coat, casually throwing it onto a chair on the side. He took his friend's club and waited for his opponent to finish playing. Wang Yujue, who handed over his cue, decided to sit aside and watch. His name is Wang Yujue, and his parents are doing foreign trade here, which is why he became a desk mate with Lin Yi. On the first day of school, the whole class called him by the wrong name. The name Guyu, which sounded so effeminate, made the young man very angry. However, with his reminder, the students would correct it. Only Lin Yi felt amused and didn't change his tune, deliberately calling him Guyu, when he had nothing to do. Angry Wang Yujue hid Lin Yi's backpack under the podium during physical education class, and was discovered by Lin Yi to tidy up after a long time. Later, when she was surfing the internet on the weekend, she found out that they were all playing the same online game or in the same area. They all had a similar smell and called her confidante, which could be considered as not knowing each other. Wang Yujue's family has money, and both parents don't care, so she is more playful. Lin Yi's athletic talent and reaction speed are both faster than ordinary people. Whether playing games or billiards, he is adept and ranks among the top in sports tests. However, he is slightly inferior to those professional sports students in certain projects. After the Xinjiang College entrance examination, the 2 of them seemed liberated. Sometimes they stayed overnight and occasionally went to each other's house, so good they could wear a pair of pants. Wang Yujue was bullied, and it was Lin Yi who stood up for him. Today he was playing at the billiards hall by himself. A young man who had made an appointment with a friend asked him if it was okay to play together, which led to the following incident. When the young friend arrived, Wang Yujue kept losing in the crowd, so he had to call Lin Yi to help him regain face. After waiting for the young man to make a mistake, Lin Yi rubbed the club head a few times with clever powder and stared at the ball on the table. He is indeed a good player, and now the opponent is only 8 points behind black. Lin Yi supports the pole with his left hand and bows down to a low pole. Bang! The white ball sent blue 2 into the middle bag and bounced back. He moved his step slightly to adjust the angle, and another high pole sent purple 4 into the bottom storage. With the sound of bang bang, the solid balls on the billiards table seemed to have been enchanted and disappeared one by one. Finally, Lin Yi pointed to them and said, "Rebound ball." Bang! With the hit of the club, the white ball rolled over a long distance and accurately hit the right side of the black 8. The black 8 hit the bottom and bounced back cleanly into the hole pointed out by Lin Yi. How impressive! A girl among his opponent's friends exclaimed in surprise, and Lin Yi's opponent glared at the girl and said, "Come again." Wang Yujue, who was beaming with joy, came up with a taste and said, "Yitzi, what should I drink? I'll buy it for you. Quanyang Spring, it needs to be cool." All right. Winner Lin Yi took a powerful high shot, and the 15 batters placed in a triangle exploded instantly. Solid ball number 145 and lob ball number 9 were both blasted into the hole with one shot. When both types of goals are scored, one can choose which ball to play. Lin Yi said, "I hit the ball with a pedal, and then continued to ambush the table and hit the ball." The slender fingers kept setting up various angles on the table, and the right hand held the ball steadily and accurately. After each stroke, the white ball would stop at a convenient position for him to hit the next ball. The young opponent's face was as black as a pan, but at this moment, Lin Yi made a mistake and sent the last pedal ball into the middle pocket, but was surrounded by 3 solid balls. The opponent clenched their fists and arms in excitement, and their friends cheered along, recognizing that Lin Yi had no choice but to exchange hitting rights. Lin Yi turned around and took the mineral water handed over by Wang Yujue. He looked up and took a gulp, tidying up his clothes a bit before sitting on the table. "Don't dodge to your waist," the opponent sneered. Lin Yi seemed to have missed it and was completely focused. His left hand raised its fingers to support him, while his right hand held the ball tightly, feeling the same way that the tail of the club was raised. This situation attracted the attention of nearby players, and many people stopped holding their clubs to wait for Lin Yi's ball. Pop! The club pierced the side of the white ball, causing it to slip in place and then bypassed the solid ball, creating an arc between the two balls, hitting the black 8 into the middle pocket. Pop 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 pop. Lin Yi clasped his fists and looked around to express his gratitude, then turned his head to ask his opponent, "Are you still fighting?" The young man's face turned red and white, and he put down his club and called his friend to leave quickly. "Nyobi, Yitzi." Wang Yujue looked excited and waved her hand, saying, "I went to my house tonight, and my dad and friend sent him seafood. Please eat more." "Okay, I haven't seen my uncle and aunt for a long time. It's still early, play 2 more." Wang Yujue was eager to try. "Come on. Then you have to give way to me." It's easy to say. When playing with Wang Yujue, Lin Yi didn't take it too seriously. Even so, Wang Yujue still felt a sweat on his forehead. There's no way, Lin Yi's athletic talent is too outstanding. His muscle control is so precise that it surprises professional athletes, and any sport can be played immediately with a certain level of familiarity. Playing table tennis, a low-competition sport, is a small joke for Lin Yi. Sometimes he has to deliberately tilt it, otherwise his friends may not have any sense of participation. Just as the two of them were playing happily, Wang Yujue looked behind Lin Yi. Lin Yi asked strangely, "What are you doing? This is an hourly fee, what are you fooling around with?" Lin Yi. His crisp voice was full of anger. "Even so, it is gentle and melodious, half drifting away with the river breeze and half drifting into the clouds." Turning his head, Lin Yi changed his smile and said, "Little fish, why did you come? Aren't you not fond of the billiards hall? I won't come and see if you're missing, and your phone is also turned off." Lin Yi took out his Nokia 6108 and pressed it a few times, smiling and saying, "It's out of battery and I didn't pay attention. Do you know that your grades are out? I checked your grades and found that you scored 331 points. In the humanities, you can't even go to college with this score." The girl opened Lin Yi's outstretched hand and angrily said, "You know how to play all day. Do you ever think that in the future, you can play for a lifetime? Can you make money by playing games or by playing pool? You must have never heard of Li Weifeng. Do you know that Emperor Sky knows that his father is just not talented, and it's easy to make money playing billiards? After all, I'm known as Hengdali on Gillen Road. Let's break up. The girl's words made Cha Xie joke that Lin Yi was like a duck choked on his neck, unable to utter a single syllable. He widened his eyes and stared at the girl across from him, hoping that she would say, "I'm joking." Unfortunately, things didn't go as he thought, and the girl's tears immediately came down. Opening Lin Yi's outstretched hand again, he cried and said, "I'm not in your family. I feel sorry that you don't have a mother, and your stepmother isn't good to you either. You don't like studying, and I don't care because I like you. This kind of you, I like to see you play basketball with great energy, but now that we've all grown up, have you ever thought about the future? It's okay if your original family isn't happy, you can create your own happiness. But having fun all day will never have a future. I'm sorry, I've been waiting for 2 years, but you still haven't grown up. Let's break up, haha, just break up." Lin Yi's stubborn temper also came up. He watched the girl turn her head and run away without chasing after her. He turned his head and said to Wang Yujue, "Do you believe it or not? She will call me tonight to apologize. She knows how to scare me, but she doesn't even look at who I am." As soon as Lin Yi thought about his phone running out of battery, his heart tightened and he quickly chuckled, "Yu, I remember there's something else to do. Yes, my second uncle has been hospitalized and he has been good to me since he was young. I need to go see him. As he gets older, he has many physical problems. You can even sprain his foot while walking, so go ahead and buy a phone." Wang Yujue, who was dumbfounded, stood by the side of the case, silently packing up her things with a half sigh. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. I want to play ball. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. I want to play ball. Lying in bed, looking at the gray ceiling, he hadn't slept for 48 hours. He thought that Li Yu was just getting angry and just calming him down. This kind of thing has happened before, and he will call him later. Unfortunately, there was none. Lin Yi was extremely anxious. Even if Li Yu called and scolded him, he would feel better. After all, that is the second most important woman in his life. Lin Yi has never seen his mother since he was young. His father is an old parent who always scolds and sometimes even takes action when he's angry. Many times it's not that Lin Yi did something wrong, it's just because his father is in a bad mood and the father-son relationship can be harmonious. In his 3rd year of junior high school, his father married his stepmother. The woman was only 25 years old and looked pretty good. Lin Yi, who had lacked maternal love since childhood, wanted to establish a good relationship with his stepmother, but he found that the woman was not as kind as she appeared. In front of him, his stepmother seemed to care a lot, but behind him, there was another expression on his face. After the woman became pregnant, she slandered Lin Yi for pushing her behind her back. Lin Yi's father, Lin Jingjun, had no doubts and directly attacked Lin Yi. Lin Yi, who was extremely aggrieved, was already higher than Lin Jingjun at that time. The next push of resistance was towards his father, and Lin Jingjun pointed at his nose and asked him to roll away. Lin Yi rushed out of the door in a daze, wearing only one shoe. Lin Yi, who was not yet an adult, was extremely scared and felt unlovable. It can only be said that the heart is kind and the heavens do not deceive. Just in time for his grandmother to come and see him, the old lady carrying fruit looked at the slap mark on her grandson's face, and showed warmth to the cause and effect, directly knocking on the door. Lin Jingjun opened the door and saw his biological mother. He cursed the ordinary 3-character scripture and swallowed it forcefully. The old lady Tian Jining helped Lin Yi pack 2 bags of luggage and handed the fruits to him. With just one big bundle in hand, it didn't affect the movements of the 1.5-meter-old lady at all. People born in that era were truly capable of enduring hardship. Lin Yi's grandmother had worked as a worker in both brick and steel factories. Following behind, Lin Yi felt that his grandmother, who was 2 heads shorter than him, was incredibly tall. That's it. Lin Yi, who is not an orphan, lives with his grandmother. The old lady only has a grandson and treats Lin Yi very well. Lin Yi's life is getting better. His 2 aunts also take good care of him, so even if his father doesn't care, he doesn't lack anything. On the contrary, his pocket money and food and clothing are better than ordinary classmates. One day in the first semester of his first year of high school, when someone heard that his stepmother's child was born, his father set up a banquet for his younger brother. Lin Yi, who had endured it all day, finally couldn't help but cry. But at this moment, my friend happened to be Li Yu, who came out of the stationery store. Lin Yi lowered his head to pretend not to see, but was stopped by Li Yu. The gentle inquiry relieved Lin Yi of his previous strength. Lin Yi and Li Yu sat on the corner of the road, sobbing and recounting their experiences. Without the pain of a mother, the terrifying tyranny of a father, and the malice of a narrow-minded stepmother. Li Yu listened without any impatience until Lin Yi's mood improved. The girl noticed that it was getting dark and stuck out her tongue, saying she was going to be scolded. She quickly ran back. Lin Yi looked at her back, and his young heartstrings were swayed like this. And after that day, Li Yu treated Lin Yi even better. The girl who was already whispering softly always had special patience when facing Lin Yi. Finally, one day, Lin Yi mustered up the courage to confess, thinking that he would be rejected, but to his surprise, Li Yu hesitated for a moment and agreed. After that day, Lin Yi had a second important woman in his life. Li Yu always advises him to study hard, but it is human nature to be playful when he is young. The misfortune of his family makes Lin Yi completely disregard future affairs and indulge in entertainment all day long. In the end, there was a scene of a girl crying in the pool hall. Thinking of Li Yu's voice, appearance, and demeanor, Lin Yi's heart suddenly tugged. Even though he was angry, the gentle questioning, like a sharp sword, pushed aside all his defenses, leaving the boy who had been avoiding reality confused and helpless. I miss the gentle girl who has always been by my side even more. Big grandson, come out for dinner. Lin Yi wiped his eyes and a carp stood up and got out of bed. When he opened the door, he saw that his grandmother's kind face added some warmth to his heart. If it weren't for this strong old lady, Lin Yi wouldn't have known if he was still alive or not. The old lady cooked dishes that looked average, and those who came from that era didn't have the heart to put in effort in the dishes. The grandfather of the sports car died of a heart attack. His father, Lin Jingjun, was the eldest. He graduated from high school and became a soldier. His personality was a weak and strong family member, and he was not assigned a good job. It was the old lady who carried rice and pulled him to find the chairman of the railway association to transfer him to the locomotive depot, where he could easily work in an office. Inheriting the excellent genes of his grandparents, he was favored by Lin Yi's mother. Unfortunately, his personality was unbearable. His mother divorced when Lin Yi was 2 years old, and apart from the photo, Lin Yi had no impression of that woman. My aunt graduated from high school and worked in a railway sanatorium, which was also a relaxed and stable job. My aunt missed the good time and met my uncle who was doing business with his parents at the counter of the mall station. Now, the two of them are doing business in the south and have made a lot of money, which is also the main source of Lin Yi's living expenses. And Grandma Lin Yi and the house where Lin Jingjun lived were all compensated and allocated by the railway for removing the second floor during the Japanese occupation period. Originally, there should have been only one house. After the old lady finished work, she pulled bricks from the brick factory and built a bungalow before the demolition. After the demolition, Lin Yi's father's house came into existence, which was also the main reason why Lin Jingjun dared not provoke the old lady. After finishing the meal, the old lady tidied up the dishes and pulled Lin Yi to nag. "Grandson, did you fail the exam?" I heard from the old grandson downstairs that his grandson scored 510 points. No, Lin Yi didn't want to deceive the old lady and lowered his head in shame. The old lady held Lin Yi's hand and said, "So what do you want to do in the future? Tell your grandmother what you want to do, and she supports you. You're smart. You learned so much when you were young, and you could win a prize for anything you learned. Grandma doesn't know what the young people think when she gets old, but people always have to start a family and start a business. If you want to do business, go out and work, learn how others do it. Grandma will show her old face and take care of your aunts borrowing money. You're not doing well among the younger generation in the family. Although your grandfather goes out to drink when he pays his salary, he has the ability to keep us from going hungry, even during times of famine. You can get meat from the chef in the car, and we make dumplings whenever we have free time. Your father doesn't know who he looks like. If he can't hit a fart with 3 sticks outside, he knows he's lying flat inside. If it weren't for me finding the guild chairman to change his job, he would have been bullied to death in the car. I don't blame your mother for divorcing him at all. No one can stand his temper. Don't look at that little fox spirit, she's happy now. She'll have to endure it in the future. Poor my grandson, tell your grandmother, what exactly do you want to do?" Lin Yi looked up at the photo of himself posted on the TV, holding a ping-pong racket and trophy in his hand, with a line of gilded regular script on the shoe. Wang Hao Cup, champion of the Railway's second elementary school table tennis competition. The coach's words still lingered in my ears. If you give up now and want to play professionally, it will be difficult. At most, you can work as a companion for others. Flipping out a ping-pong racket and clothes from under the bed, carrying a backpack, Lin Yi went out. Lin Yi was born in 1988, 5 years younger than Wang Hao. When Wang Hao was selected for the national team at the age of 15, Lin Yi was only in 3rd grade. The school held a competition to celebrate his departure from the country. With his natural athletic talent, Lin Yi, who had only studied with an old man downstairs for a few days, defeated many trained classmates and won the championship. Lin Jingjun, who had made a name for himself in the unit, sent Lin Yi to study football. The coach of the training class was amazed by Lin Yi's talent, his motor nerves and reaction speed were too good. There have even been incidents where other sports coaches in the training class tried to grab people. Unfortunately, Lin Yi is a person with significant emotional fluctuations. Usually in the training class, without any parents following, Lin Yi is invincible. However, when he sees other students' parents picking up their children, he immediately makes a series of mistakes. Lin Yi was recommended to the provincial team twice, but he was unable to pass due to this reason. Seeing other contestants enjoying themselves together, Lin Yi's success rate could only reach 30%. Later, when his father remarried, Lin Yi lost his interest in practicing basketball and let it go. Willing to play games and billiards is also a manifestation of a competitive personality. After thinking for a while, Lin Yi only felt that playing table tennis would have a future. During this period, professional gaming players had poor treatment and reputation, were looked down upon by others, had not received low training intensity, and their salaries were not as high as the average salary. They were simply punished for their love. On the way to the coach's house, Lin Yi saw his medium-long hair in a passing shop window and thought to himself that the coach definitely didn't like it, so he went to a hair salon. Halfway through, the barber exclaimed, "Young man, a very energetic person looks like a long-haired Tartar. Look at how beautiful this looks." He said. Lin Yi grinned and remained silent. Looking at himself in the mirror, Lin Yi felt quite refreshed. After checking out, the wind blew in my footsteps and I walked all the way to the Dongmei residential area where the coach lived. 3 steps in 2, I walked up to the 5th floor and knocked on the middle door. After a burst of footsteps, Lin Yi saw the familiar face and said, "Coach, I want to play table tennis." End of this chapter. Chapter 4. The Great Demon King System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. The Great Demon King System. Pi Pa Bang Bang. listen to the intensity of this voice, another unlucky child. A woman's hollow and long voice came from mid-air. Although this kind of thing is common, the idea is a bit dirty, otherwise it wouldn't be better. Be sure to adjust your attitude, correct your thoughts, cough cough. Hey, wake up. It's time to wake up. A man kept calling out to the person lying flat. Lin Yi listened as if someone was asking him to gently rub his eyes. But no matter how he looked, he couldn't see clearly, and it was still pitch black. Terrifying. Terrifying. Those who have seen it have never seen it so devastating. This time, it sounded like a child's frightened voice. The sound echoed empty in Lin Yi's ear, as if arguing, as if discussing, as if mocking laughter, as if there was nothing. You finally woke up. If you don't wake up, I'll fall asleep. An old man's voice drifted out weakly. Lin Yi can't see with his eyes, but his ears are very functional. This doesn't sound like the voice of a little fish. No matter how angry the little fish is, they won't curse him much, nor does it sound like the voice of a chubby guy like Wang Yujue. He's his good buddy. It's not like the voice of the coach is so kind, at least not so strict with him. It's not like his father's voice. As long as he can remember it, he goes through it all in his mind, even thinking about his mother who hasn't been masked. No, it's not right either, it's impossible, not a single possibility. Hello. Host, I am the Great Demon King System. Nice to see you as I wish. A voice that can be switched freely sounded, this time a mechanical sound. The system was accustomed to the curiosity and tragedy of these deceased people, but Lin Yi, who woke up in front of them, was beyond his expectations. There seems to be a kind of privacy that he, as the Great Demon King System, cannot pry into. Strange, strange, the system exclaimed repeatedly. Lin Yi was a bit puzzled by the endless darkness. Am I blind? Do I still have to play table tennis? Why can't I see anything? He completely ignored the existence of the system. Reaching out to touch things around him made him stumble. Hello, I'm talking to you. Didn't you hear me? This is the Big Demon King System. The system has turned into a man's voice and is very dissatisfied with Lin Yi's disregard. Oh, I was dreaming, no wonder it was so dark. Lin Yi had a habit of dreaming, and there were always dreamers talking to him. Every time I wake up, I remember a little bit. In my dreams, I even argue with the person in my dream, which is the most secret joy of life. Host, don't daydream anymore. You have already left your soul. This is a space of one dimension, and I came to pick you up because I heard your dying wish. I can do as you wish. The woman spoke out everything that should be said and not said. What do you care about whether the psychology of the undead can bear it? It is said that women and petty people are difficult to raise, and indeed there is no sympathy. This is not a dream. Ah, it hurts so much. Lin Yi held his head and kept rolling on the ground, sweat dripping down. He seemed to have fallen asleep in pain. The first thing that Lin Yi woke up from pain was constant contemplation. He was going to the coach's house, and at the moment the coach opened the door, a black light flashed by and he remembered nothing. The only proof of his death is that he rolled down from the 5th floor. It is possible that the staircase design of the coach's unit building is very unreasonable, very narrow, and also rugged, just like taking a dangerous path. I seriously believe that the developer ran away with money, otherwise how could they have designed such inhumane stairs and let the people of this building live their lives? He vented his dissatisfaction with the developer in anger and continued to think about the reasons. When I first went upstairs, I lacked strength and went all the way up to the 5th floor. Causing him brain hypoxia, hypoglycemia, and insufficient lung capacity. Only this reason can explain. He couldn't sleep or eat for a few days because of little fish's situation. But dying like this is a bit unfair. If he was wrong, please let the law punish him. How could he be sentenced to death? Oh yes, he remembered that someone had been muttering a lot just now. He seemed to have said something that could fulfill my dream of playing table tennis as I wished. Now it doesn't matter whether the heavenly spirit is spiritual or the earthly spirit is spiritual. Hi, the great demon king system, are you still there? Is what you just said true? Can I continue playing ball? Lin Yi asked in one direction, not knowing where the system was. Let a dead horse be a living horse. You are our carefully selected host, of course it's true. A man's voice sounded, as if he was deliberately waiting for Lin Yi to wake up. This voice sounds like a cynical young master, speaking arrogantly, but it is also a fact. As a system, his responsibility is to bring a group of outstanding deceased people into their world, allowing these carefully selected and excellent species of humans, or it can be said, souls, to open up territories for them in that world. Okay, I want to play table tennis, become the world champion, and bring glory to the fruit. Since he can no longer return to his world, it is also possible to go to a world where he can play. Moreover, his father doesn't hurt and his mother doesn't love him. He just pitifully loves her and is his grandmother. Thinking of his grandmother, he couldn't help but feel a little sour in his nose. As she was getting older, she was the only person in the world who was closest to him. He just hoped that his departure would make his grandmother less sad. Since you have agreed, from now on, you are not you. Your codename is Calm Lin Hui, change your name, this. No matter how much hatred there is, after all, his father is also his father. How can you change your surname? What's the name of this system? Can we get off the pirate ship? After a while, okay. Lin Yi could only reluctantly agree, feeling dissatisfied. Since his people were no longer there, he could start over with a new name. He was no longer him, but he was still him. This is the address, you can go here to report. A few glittering words appeared above Lin Yi's head, number 121 Demon King Academy, aren't you going with me to the system? This is completely unbelievable, and the second monk couldn't figure it out. For no reason, an additional system was added and the name was changed. What's even more suspicious is going to the Demon King Academy, where you can definitely play basketball. You don't have to doubt it. This place will definitely make your dreams come true, so I won't go with you. I have my mission. After my dream comes true, can I still come back? Where will I go in the future, or will I disappear in that world? Lin Yi had many questions to ask the system, but the system didn't know when it would disappear. Lin Yi could only stare at this address repeatedly in a daze. Now he has no choice but to follow the address given to him by the system. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Demon King Academy. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Demon King Academy. Lin Yi didn't know how long he had been walking, but it was still pitch black with no end in sight. How could he not walk to this Demon King Academy? It feels like a dead end. Where the hell are you at 121 Demon King Academy? Even though the voice sounded louder, the only response to him was loneliness. With a swoosh, Lin Yi appeared in a place, just like a fairy performing magic. Damn it, this is too dreamy. His secret to entry is actually 121 Demon King Academy. Lin Yi couldn't wait to enter this mysterious college and take a look. Every step he took left him amazed. This was the gate of the college, towering and steep. This is the most luxurious and imposing thing he has ever seen, he can't even describe it himself, it can almost startle his chin. The college entrance is a bit unconventional and creative. It looks a bit confusing, half on the mountainside but half in the green space, illusory and unpredictable. I think Nobel laureates must also ponder it when they come here. The doors are so mysterious, no wonder the sound of that system is also very variable. To put it nicely, the sound changes, but to put it harshly, it's simply abnormal. But he was still attracted by this subject, gazing at every carving in texture. Although he didn't understand, he vaguely heard the teacher explain it when he was in school. The higher and more magnificent it is, the more advanced the designers and skilled craftsmen, it inevitably reminds him of the Great Wall. The place he most wants to go is the Great Wall, because everyone knows that the Great Wall is not a hero. He was determined to witness the grandeur of the Great Wall and the famous saying that has been passed down for a long time. However, he remembered that he wanted his grandmother to take him there. As his grandmother was getting older, he couldn't do it. He wanted his father to take him there. He even promised to take him there, and he had a stepmother who would either be perfunctory or perfunctory. He would go tomorrow forever. This has also become a lifelong regret for Lin Yi not to go to the Great Wall. Lin Yi was too engrossed in his thoughts. If it weren't for someone talking to him, the soreness in his neck would have completely thrown him out of the blue. Do you also think this gate is a bit towering? Lin Yi looked in the direction of the voice and saw a white and pure man standing tall in front of him, with two small dimples that caught his attention the most. Yes, you look at the texture, the dragon hovering, the turtle guarding, and the vermilion bird probing its head. Is that interesting? It is indeed like the four divine beasts of Qinglong, Baihu, Zhuke, and Xuanwu. It seems that this academy is extraordinary. The two of them were chatting enthusiastically, only to realize that they didn't know each other. Lin Yi spoke up and asked, "What's your name?" "You're also here." Lin Yi can't even believe that this is a one-dimensional space, like the Azura realm, but it's not like it. In his mind, this has always been a mysterious existence. It's like exploring a new world. At the beginning, one's life depends entirely on oneself to discover. "My name is Zhao Jianhua, and you?" "Lin Yi, please take care of me." The two shook hands politely. Lin Yi suggested that the two of them come inside and take a look, feeling a bit awkward as the two big men walked silently. "What are you doing today?" Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua exchanged a smile. You, Jianhua, let's talk first." Lin Yi felt that it was not a solution for two people to compete for time and talk. He suggested that Zhao Jianhua speak first. Zhao Jianhua didn't humble himself and asked, "Lin Yi, did you come here dead?" "Yeah, I died inexplicably and came here." "And you?" "Jianhua. I am indeed dead, but there is an androgynous system that summoned me here." Lin Yi instantly understood that they were all recruited here by that system and didn't care, and they could only come here after they died. Jianhua just said that he died because he wanted to play table tennis, which is why we met him. Our goals are all the same. It is possible that we passed away on the same day, and it suddenly made him think that if we cannot be born on the same day in the same year, then we should die on the same day in the same year. This is ridiculous and absurd. The two of them walked aimlessly and chatted, not knowing how long they had been walking or what time it was now. Tired and thirsty, I decided to walk and rest on the ground for a moment. Perhaps God sympathizes with them, or perhaps when people are in despair, they will see hope. While God closes one door for you, He also opens another window for you. Lin Yi, when you look in that direction, is there a door? Zhao Jianhua woke up, feeling really bored. He accidentally discovered that the location in the southwest direction was different from other places, and by chance, he discovered the clues. Lin Yi slept soundly. He didn't rest well for 2 days when he was alive, and even when he died, he couldn't sleep anymore. Just as he heard the word door, he instinctively sat up and exhaled. "Look in the direction pointed by Jianhua." "I'm going, this is a joke, double door. This door is still very low. Is this the country of Lilliputians? The door outside looks 5 meters, but this door looks less than 1 meter, right?" Facing the door, Lin Yi is roast. Roast belongs to roast, but he always has to go in. Now that he is here, he has to face all the unknown future. Lin Yi is a person who loves cleanliness. He stood up and patted the soil on his body, which was strange to say. This place looks like a green space, with good air and no dust at all, like a natural oxygen bar. Breaking through the iron shoes, there is nowhere to be found, but the door is in a dimly lit area. As he spoke, he walked towards the door. Zhao Jianhua saw that what Lin Yi said was a bit wrong, but he couldn't say what was wrong either. He just chuckled and followed closely behind Lin Yi. This door is too small. To enter, one must squat, bend down, and crawl forward. Although unwilling, the posture is not aesthetically pleasing, and it does not affect the outcome. Being able to enter can still bear the great injustice of losing the nail cover. Lin Yi was in front and Zhao Jianhua was behind, crawling forward for at least 10 minutes. This wall is too thick, isn't it? They were filled with doubts as they were certain it was a wall, not a dog hole. The only way now is to walk along this very narrow space. There is no second way. If there was a way, they would have gone in long ago. Why create this crime here? Lin Yi felt a slight pain in his legs and hands. Thorns grew under him, making him think he had walked into the 18 layers of hell. Painful and numb, a light appeared in front of him, which was the exit. Sunshine is always right little by little after the wind and rain. Can be considered as coming out. I have a strong desire to die. Jianhua, come out quickly. Jianhua was left behind by a large distance, and as Lin Yi shouted to him, he quickened his pace and poked his head out. Seeing Jianhua come out, quickly pull him out. The Demon King Academy, golden and shining with 4 words, appeared before their eyes, clearly and truly hanging. Wanting to laugh and cry, the two hugged each other with a bitter smile. This kind of mood can only be understood by the two of them, it is mutual encouragement between men. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. First arrival at your place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. First arrival at your place. Not far from the house, there was a figure coming and going, stomping back and forth, as if waiting for something. It seems very anxious. Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua walked slowly towards the room, their physical exhaustion slowing their pace. Now we can only ask through the person behind this figure. As Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua approached, they were indeed wandering alone at the door of the house. Before Lin Yi could open his mouth, the man approached and said to himself, "You guys have finally arrived. I've been waiting for you for a long time. I'm Qiu Xiaojie, the captain of the table tennis team. What are your 2 names?" Today, Qiu Xiaojie received an early notice from Coach Su that 2 team members were coming today, so he waited for them here. This is the only entrance. But after waiting for a long time, he was a bit anxious and still couldn't see their figures. Now that he finally arrived, he suddenly breathed a sigh of relief. "My name is Lin Yi." "My name is Zhao Jianhua." Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua reported their names one after another. Qiu Xiaojie furrowed his brows and looked at the list in his hand, puzzled. "Is there anything wrong?" "Xiaojie," Lin Yi felt some clues and immediately broke the deadlock. "What's your name?" Qiu Xiaojie stared at Lin Yi and asked. Previously, when he was receiving new students, he missed the list. From there on, even if he knew someone else's name, he would double-check. "My name is Lin Yi." Lin Yi replied confidently, "How could my name be wrong?" Qiu Xiaojie's eyebrows furrowed even more as he whispered, "But the list clearly says Kong Lin Hui." "Yes, I forgot. My codename is Kong Lin Hui." Lin Yi's athletic talent is innate, and his physical fitness and skills are even better. How could he not hear him whispering so softly? "Lin Yi, oh no, Kong Lin Hui, you've messed me up. Your name will be Kong Lin Hui from now on, and there's nothing Lin Yi remembers." Qiu Xiaojie repeatedly instructed. "Let me show you where you live." As he walked, Qiu Xiaohua remembered a puzzled question and immediately asked. "How did you come in from the southwest?" "The gate is in the northeast corner." "Northeast corner," Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua both said, their tone clearly filled with question marks. "Don't you know that the northeast corner is the gate, and the southwest corner is the outlet for underground water and garbage. Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua both feel a bit nauseous, but they can't show it either. After all, this is not a glorious thing. How could it be? We were just strolling around, strolling over there. Afraid of being recognized by others for spreading the news, Jianhua immediately responded, "Feel free to stroll, feel free to stroll." The three of them looked at each other and smiled, and this matter was so simple that it passed. The room happened to be very close to where it was just now, and it was only a few steps away. From now on, these will be your 2 rooms. Take a break. Tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, we will meet in the table tennis room. On the way here, Qiu Xiaohua introduced them to the approximate location, including the training room, restaurant, swimming pool, and bathhouse. Time passed quickly, and without realizing it, they had dinner without feeling any drowsiness. Coming into a new environment will give anyone a sense of recognition. Not to mention the person who came between them. Calm Lin Hui lay in bed, feeling a bit nervous as he thought about where they came from. Flip left and right, making the bed creak and creak. I couldn't help but ask Jianhua gently, "Jianhua, have you slept yet?" "No," Jianhua responded immediately upon hearing the sound. He also recognized this unfamiliar place and couldn't possibly fall asleep immediately. "Then let's go take a shower together. Now. I can't sleep when I think about things during the day." The two of them hit it off as soon as they took a shower, crossed their shoulders, and walked towards the direction pointed out by Xiaojie during the day. The bathhouse had already closed, so I thought of the swimming pool. It was possible to take a shower if possible, but it was already closed. This place closes before 8 o'clock. It's a training ground. If it were there, Kong Lin Hui would give him a bad review and even throw his cigarette butt at his doorstep. But not now. He's an athlete. How can he do such a shameful thing to the athlete's reputation? What's more, as an athlete, he cannot smoke. What's more, there is no cigarette sale here, and smoking is also prohibited. He can only think about it in his mind and complain about it in his mind. "Jianhua, let's see if there's any small river nearby. I remember when we arrived, there was a river in the north direction. Let's go find it." Lin Yi's grandmother often says that apart from having the same super strong brain as your father, there is nothing else like him. Lin Yi is not only physically strong, but also has a legendary memory. If it weren't for his father marrying his stepmother, he wouldn't have put in effort in sports and studies. Otherwise, it would be more than enough to take the entrance exam to schools in the capital. It's all caused by the family of origin. As expected, there was a small river in the north. Although it was a bit dark and the road ahead was unclear, they quickly found it under the guidance of the Big Dipper. There are waves of white air rising around this small river, which looks like a fairyland. In addition, this place is relatively secretive and has many green belts, making it more like entering the realm of emptiness. This is also their world, it's spring. In the quiet of the night, one can feel the spring breeze passing over their cheeks, carrying a hint of warmth. In this world, the breath of the wind is very warm and cozy. And today, the moon seemed to be playing hide and seek with them, hiding in the clouds, and it was already dark as night fell. Looking at this situation, you can indulge in taking a bath in this small river. They left their clothes on the shore and slowly walked towards the center of the river, getting warmer and warmer as they walked. The reason was that it was a hot spring water, not a river water. By chance, they found the spring water. Their luck fluctuates between good and bad. I can always find a way out in a broken mirror, but I also encounter difficulties. Taking advantage of this warmth, they kept washing their upper bodies with water. Who? Where is who? Kong Lin Hui and Zhao Jianhua were a bit shocked, both suspecting that there might be a problem with their ears. How could there be a woman's voice here? How could anyone come to this place in the quiet of the night? The woman heard a sound and poked her head out of the lurking water. Her half-length hair was thrown back, and as she opened her eyes, she met Kong Lin Hui's 4 eyes. Calm Lin Yi saw a woman with bare shoulders, running and shouting that there was a ghost. Sayako ran back with her clothes in hand, and Zhao Jianhua followed closely behind. Only the woman they thought was a ghost stood silently in the water. The woman has a slender figure and a beautiful face. "Hey, there are 2 new arrivals," she said. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. National League. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7 National League. The next day, all the team members were in place in the training room, and Calm Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua were no longer concerned about yesterday's panic. They arrived early in the crowd, which was very noticeable. A burly figure with bewildered eyes walked to the center of the training room, and in an instant, the air pressure in the training room became very low. The chattering and noisy voices just now immediately became quiet and elegant. "My name is Su Jifeng and I am everyone's coach. The new coach may not know. Today, we received a notice from our superiors that we will hold a national league. This league is very important, so everyone should practice as soon as possible. Alright, let's end the meeting." Coach Su was simple and straightforward, and after directly discussing the topic to everyone, he left. Coach Su's voice sounded very magnetic, not like a strict coach, but it seemed that the team members were all afraid of him just now. Watching the coach silently walk away, all the team members went to their familiar fields to start practicing, except for Calm Lin Yi and Zhao Jianhua, who stood in the same place, unsure of where to go. "Lin Yi, Xiaojie, you haven't received anything yet. Let me take you to the textbook room to collect it." Qiu Xiaojie stood next to them at some point. Leading new team members and arranging new team members are both within Qiu Xiaojie's scope of work. "Xiaojie, you're here at the right time. Do I have something else to ask you?" Since someone has arranged for the 2 of them, Lin Yi has nothing to worry about and remembers what happened last night. "Does our college have hot springs?" "Yes, you went there. It's at the north corner of the college, but the hot spring is forbidden for boys to go there at night because female table tennis players come back late from competitions. Sometimes when they get tired, they go there to soak in the hot spring." Qiu Xiaojie explained the relevant information about the hot spring. Yesterday, he was a bit anxious when he left. He forgot to instruct them that the hot spring area was not allowed for boys to enter, and it was also his fault for being careless. There shouldn't have been anything wrong. If anything happened, he would go to find him. "Oh, so it's not a ghost. That's okay." Lin Yi was silently reciting, while Jianhua wanted to laugh but dared not. "Last night when I went back to Jianhua, I told him how could it be even more terrifying than us. But Lin Yi just didn't listen. He said there was a woman with a pale and wet face. He even told Jianhua that there might be something unclean in the water. Plus, he was a bit scared at the time, his brain went blank, and he felt something was wrong, so he quickly turned his head and ran away. Unexpectedly, he was overthinking. Lin Yi is not afraid of heaven and earth, the only thing he is afraid of is ghosts and monsters." One day, he mustered up the courage to ask his grandmother what the reason was. After all, everyone has shortcomings and he doesn't want people to know. But in order to overcome his fear, he had to ask his grandmother why she is so afraid. Grandma once told him that when you were a child, you fell seriously ill and fell into a coma. After seeing a doctor, the doctor said you were not sick. When people told you that you had lost your soul, you took your clothes to the places you had been to, called your name over and over again, and after a day, you woke up. Since then, you have been particularly afraid of these ghosts. He knew the reason and slowly began to come into contact with some supernatural novels. Gradually, he realized that ghosts and monsters in the world were not scary, but rather human hearts. Besides, there are no ghosts or monsters in this world. Although he has overcome this fear now, if he really encounters it, he will still be afraid. Suddenly, there were waves of pain in my abdomen. "Xiaojie, I can't do it anymore. My stomach hurts, maybe it's because I'm not accustomed to the environment. Where is the restroom? Xiaojia pointed his finger, and before he could finish speaking, Lin Yi disappeared in a flash. He really has a stomachache, and there are obvious beads of sweat on his cheeks. Following Xiaojia's instructions, I walked to the door feeling a bit dumbfounded. This is not logical. Someone must be playing a prank, she said without too much thought. I instinctively took a glance and rushed to the left restroom, clutching my stomach. Regardless of the image, it is said that from ancient times to Jin, people have 3 anxieties. How could a living person be suffocated to death? After a while, Lin Yi slowly wanted to leave when a woman suddenly burst in, with a slender figure and a beautiful face. Lin Yi was a bit dumbfounded on the spot. There would still be such a beautiful woman in such a place. In his heart, Xiaoye was the most beautiful woman he had ever seen. He never expected that there would be a woman even more beautiful than Xiaoye. She looked straight at the woman in front of him, and if something beautiful was given to anyone, they would inevitably have to look for a while longer, let alone a beautiful woman in front of him. The woman was stared at by the man in front of her, with goosebumps all over her body. The pervert punched and kicked at the man in front of her. With a scream and a sense of physical pain, Lin Yi finally snapped out of the beautiful things and said, "Don't shout, I'm a team member here." Upon hearing that it was a team member, the woman stopped her punches and looked carefully at the man in front of her. "Isn't this the person from yesterday?" Although it was very dark yesterday, the woman could see clearly the man who had fled. "Are you new here?" The woman opened her mouth. Not only is the person good looking, but also the voice is as pleasant as a Oreo, which is Lin Yi's first reflection of this name. "Yes, I'm new here. If I offend the girl, please forgive me." The sentence is simple but sincere. Lin Yi knew that when he was in that world, he didn't say good things to Xiaoye and kept making her unhappy. So to leave this world, he must change himself and treat him well, no matter who he is. Moreover, he was a bit unclear about the woman's sudden visit. Even if the other party is wrong, it is always right to apologize first. People who suffer losses can always live a long time in the world, and that's how their grandmother taught them. Since you have a very sincere attitude, I'll forgive you, your face. What's wrong with my face? Lin Yi thought she was dirty, so this woman felt a bit embarrassed. His tone of voice has become much more amiable than before. "Lin Yi. Are you okay?" Just as he thought of looking at what dirt was on his face by the sink, he heard Xiaojia calling him and hurriedly walked out of the bathroom. It wasn't until he walked out that he remembered forgetting to ask the woman's name. Here we go. Jianhua and Xiaojia looked surprised, and Jianhua spoke up, "Your face. What's wrong with you all today?" "I washed my face clean." As he walked up to the front, Jianhua couldn't help but tell him that your face was scratched and disfigured. "Since the parties involved feel fine, we can't say anything more. After all, he came out of the women's restroom." It's okay. Did something happen just now?" Xiaojia looked at the situation and probed Lin Yi to see what exactly happened. How could Lin Yi possibly tell them what happened just now? He quickly disguised himself and said, "Let's go." End of this chapter. Chapter 8. National League, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 National League, 2, it's only a few steps from the textbook room to the training room. Quickly, the 3 of them became very familiar, chatting and laughing along the way. While chatting happily, Lin Yi felt a slight pain on his face. "Jianhua, can you see if I've been bitten by mosquitoes on my face? It's a bit burning and painful. Did you get into a fight with someone just now?" Jianhua replied directly, without any intention of concealing anything. "No, it's not possible that I was a bit anxious just now, so I accidentally bumped into it." When people panicked, they felt very guilty, and Lin Yi was like that. Without much research on the facial injuries, he pulled Jianhua to the table tennis table. Lin Yi, who has not held a ping-pong racket for a long time, is a bit unfamiliar and has been losing several times. But he is a genius in sports, and after a few rounds of practice just now, he slowly began to find his hand feel. I played much better than the last few times. At the same time, there is a tenacity in his heart that is not afraid of losing and dares to fight and fight. How could it possibly fall off the chain due to manual labor? 15.15 This is the third game, where the score is tied. Lin Yi and Jianhua are evenly matched. Jianhua likes to play short balls and cut the ball, but Lin Yi's moves are unpredictable. His horizontal racket plays the ball, then it changes to a spike, and later it becomes a lob. He always takes Jianhua with him, which is really where his talent lies in playing football. Let others follow his footsteps, not let him follow others. Playing at the opponent's pace, if there is a little carelessness, others will lead him by the nose. If you want to move back to this game, it will be difficult. This is what he has studied with great care, and how to deal with the ball from the opponent and how to receive it perfectly. 23.24-24.24 In this point-to-point tug-of-war, no one would let anyone down, and no one would be convinced. At some point, all the players on the field gathered here, watching him play 2 games, both excited and nervous. Several players clenched their fists nervously. These team members have never seen such an exciting match here before. They were both surprised by the performance of these 2 newcomers today. 25.24 Still unable to distinguish between high and low. It's difficult to determine the winner. When Jianhua was in the provincial team, he was a skilled player. He played basketball in the youth palace since childhood and started participating in various competitions as he grew up. His basic skills were also quite solid. He is a provincial team that only achieved success after defeating 6 generals. No one in the provincial team can beat him, and he is the pride of the provincial team. Lin Yi is a sports genius who relied on his own conditions. Without any professional training, he was relegated to the coaching staff. Many people thought that Lin Yi was a star of the future, and many sports schools that trained him were eager to hire him. It's also because he had poor mental health at that time. Because his father married his stepmother, he left his favorite table tennis, just to make his father care about him. Unexpectedly, his father's care was getting further and further away from him. People are always very naive. They only realize after losing and leaving. When Lin Yi realizes that relying on oneself is the most real thing, and relying on others, even his closest person, is not enough. Sooner or later, they will have to leave, and they still need to face all the darkness alone. Unfortunately, everything was too late, and by the time he fully understood his desire to play, it was as if he had passed away. I don't know when someone suddenly spoke in the crowd, which is who has stronger endurance and better psychological qualities. Ultimately leading the victory in this game. Everyone is familiar with this voice. Some people find the explanation given by this person in the crowd very convincing, while others still look seriously at the 2 sweaty team members. That group of team members heard familiar voices and turned around to see Coach Su and Coach Shirt discussing their tactics, silently averting their gaze. Enable the 2 coaches to analyze tactics and also enable them to learn from their strategies. 38.35 The last 2 players were physically exhausted, and Lin Yi scored 3 more goals to defeat Jianhua. Playing for a long time has made them very tired, and coupled with their newcomers not resting well and not eating well, it has consumed a lot of energy for both of them this time. Sitting on the nearby stool, panting heavily. It's really a pity. That's really great playing. I've never seen someone play like this before. They actually hit 13 high balls. Many people silently recited 10.11. 12 in their hearts 13. In the end, Lin Yi wanted to have a quick battle and a great dunk hit Jianhua's corner, narrowly winning. The team members are all discussing. They feel that this game is like a visual feast, as well as a reminder to launch new challenges for them. 2 coaches saw these 2 new players, and Su Jifeng discussed with another coach, Shi Haiming. the National League can consider allowing both of them to participate. Shi Haiming is the head coach here, and many decisions are decided by two people, and the final decision is made by Shi Haiming. Their playing style is very good, but they cannot play as main players and can only participate as substitute players. This is Shi Haiming's recognition of the two of them just now. But Su Jifeng is different. As long as there are good seedlings in his heart, he will work hard to strive for them. No matter what they used to be, now as long as they are in his hands, they can cultivate good world champions. Coach Shi is really interested in whether a person can win this game or not, and the collective honor is important. He will consider the overall situation. Every time they have different opinions, they will always fall apart in one shot. Since Lao Shi promised to give these two children a chance to play as substitutes this time, it's better than nothing. This is what Su Jifeng can fight for these two children. The next day, Coach Su announced the list of participants in the competition. Lin Yi and Jianhua were added to the list, and Xiaojie was the first to raise his thumb at them as a gesture of goodwill. As the captain, Xiaojie oversees the dozen or so people, but he treats everyone very well, making people feel impeccable. Of course, as the captain this time, he will definitely participate. But only he knew in his heart that yesterday when the two of them played basketball, he clearly saw that Lin Yi had an indomitable temperament that he did not possess. He admired Lin Yi's courage and felt that he could really surpass him. Subsequently, Su Jifeng also announced that the women's team would also participate in this league. And he said, "Let's work together," and left the training room. Will the women's team also participate? Lin Yi has already made it clear that the woman he met yesterday was from the women's team. As for her surname, he is not sure, but he will participate as a backup team member. All members of the men's team will go, so the women's team will definitely go too. He will definitely recognize her at a glance and must ask his name clearly. See what kind of beating he has become is the only reason Lin Yi found him. Growing up so big, this is the first time a girl has hit him, and even little fish has never hit him. He always feels very embarrassed. She must be in the crowd, I can definitely recognize her. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. National League, 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 National League, 3. In the following days, the team members entered into intense training. Coach Su specializes in training Kong Lin Yi, hoping that he can become a dark horse in this training. Although he was a substitute player, Coach Su prepared to let Lin Yi play. Because from his perspective, how could Lin Yi be such a simple substitute player? Every time he looks at Lin Yi, I saw a radiance shining on him, a sense of not giving up, not losing the enemy, not abandoning me. In all these years, no seedling like Lin Yi has ever appeared in front of him. He waited for so many years this time, how could he easily miss him? A good coach is like bull, always looking for his 1,000-mile horse. If this 1,000-mile horse can become famous all over the world, then bull behind it will also be discovered in front of the world. However, Coach Su does not think so. He only wants to cultivate proud students. In his hands, he can also cultivate world champions, and there are world champions walking out of this land in Jilin. However, as an athlete, training is always cruel, and without hard work, success is impossible. Behind all success lies a lot of hardships that ordinary people may not know, whether it be physical or mental. Lin Yi has always been very nervous these days, so he takes Jianhua to practice playing basketball before dawn. Even if there is talent in sports, it still requires more practice. Who can produce success is like Da Vinci drawing an egg, and Lin Yi still understands this truth. Every time they play, the two of them are always very tired and the next day they are always in low spirits. Lin Yi and Jianhua always practice in this way to consume themselves. Su Jianlian felt that this was not a solution, as excessive consumption would have adverse effects on the body. Therefore, he instructed Xiaojie to come to their house for dinner on Saturday and called Lin Yi and Jianhua. Upon hearing that Coach Su asked Lin Yi and Jianhua to go to their house for a meal, the two of them practiced even harder. The coach treated them so well, how could they disappoint the coach? The rest of them went to the coach's house to improve their meals, which has become something they look forward to every day. The rest of the time, Lin Yi was thinking about coming here. It had been a while since he came here, and he gradually understood the details of this place. It was no different from his world, just like it was copied and pasted over. People still had to eat and sleep, without any special functions, and it was not as complex and mystical as he had originally thought. Perhaps things in this world are originally simple, but the more you think about them, the easier it becomes to become complex. He also further understood the geographical location of this place. Currently, he is in the provincial team of Jilin, and Lin Yi is from Jilin. As for why it is called the Great Demon King Academy, it will require further research in the future. It was soon Saturday when Xiaojie called Lin Yi and Jianhua to Coach Su's house on the way. Lin Yi kept asking, "Do you want to bring some food? Why don't we just go like this?" Along the way, Lin Yi felt like a new uncle going to his father-in-law's house, a bit hesitant and a bit shy. When he asked east and west, he always felt that this place was not suitable, and where was not suitable. Compared to Jianhua, he was very stable and silent. "Lin Yi, don't be so nervous. We usually go to the coach's house for dinner. You just need to take the guy who eats with you and don't need anything else." Listen to Xiaohua's words. He felt much calmer in his heart, but just as he was about to open his mouth and continue speaking, he heard a slender and beautiful woman first say, "You're here. Isn't this the woman who was in the restroom that day?" They seemed to be very familiar with each other, and Lin Yi pointed at the woman and asked Xiaohua, "Do you know each other?" "I know her, her name is Su Xian, she is a female table tennis player and also the captain of the female table tennis team. She's also coming to the coach's house for dinner." Xiaojie also replied, just smiling and leading them upstairs. Su Xian has already knocked on the door for a few of them in front. Coach Su's house is located on the 3rd floor and also houses a unit building. This floor has 6 floors, which is different from the 6-story unit buildings he usually sees. In his era, the unit buildings in the community were very dilapidated, and he thought it would be great to live in the community. Coach Chen was one of those people who were envied by others. Looking at the layout here, Lin Yi thought of Coach Chen's house. He didn't consider whether the floor height of the house was suitable for living, whether the hallway was wide enough, and whether the stairs rotated too reasonably, so he rushed to buy it first. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been an accident where he fell from a high place to a low place. When someone else fell, they fell from a high place to a low place. When they fell directly from the stairs and became a dog eating shit, and even lost their lives. If they said it out loud, they would have laughed their teeth out. He was good at everything, but his luck was a bit unlucky. Maybe all the bad luck in this life is concentrated on that day. The elderly often say that if you die in the river, you won't die in the well. That's probably the truth. Now Lin Yi has figured it out. He just wants to play, be first, win a gold medal, and win a championship. With the sound of footsteps, the 3rd floor has arrived. The outside is a standard European-style partition, and the interior furnishings are also very stylish. When the door rings, a beautiful middle-aged woman faces her. She sees a familiar face in the crowd. "Xiaojie, you're here." "Hello, master." "Hello, auntie." "Hello, auntie." 3 people named each other, which made the beautiful woman laugh and laugh. "Look at you naughty kids." Jianhua Sheng is very polite in the city, while Lin Yi has been living with his grandmother since childhood. Only Xiaojie often comes to the coach's house. Xiaojie quickly hinted in his eyes, and then Lin Yi and Jianhua instantly understood. "Hello, Shirmu." Even Su Xian followed suit and called Shirmu hello. "Quickly, come in quickly, the middle-aged woman smiled at Su Xian at the end as the three of them entered the room. You're also starting to coax. Gently pushing toward Su Xian's back, he forcefully pulled the gatekeeper back. The middle-aged woman's name is Chen Huanying, and she is an internist. Whenever someone comes to her home, she warmly welcomes them. Chen Huanying placed the prepared dried fruits in front of the coffee table and urged them to sit down quickly. Su Jianlian is preparing today's lunch in the kitchen. The first time I came to Coach Su's house as a guest, only Xiaojie was more relaxed. Lin Yi and Jianhua were both very restrained and didn't dare to speak, just sitting carefully. Lin Yi didn't see the coach. After asking his teacher's mother, he went in to see the coach and heard Su Xian and Coach Su joking at the door. It seems like I heard a sentence like, "Dad. So you're Coach Su's daughter." I said just now, Lin Yi said without me, habitually touching the back of his head. I saw Coach Su and Su Xian laughing happily. You're eating those snacks outside, chatting with your teacher's mother, what are you doing in here? Coach Su signaled to Su Xian to take him out, but he didn't want his team members. They are the pillars of the country. How could they have let the kitchen smoke get stained without winning the championship? Lin Yi didn't expect that Su Jiaoyan never talks or laughs on the court. When he is at home, he is a good man who can cook. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. National League, 4. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 National League, 4, Dinner's ready, it's ready. Coach Su walked over with a plate. Xiaojie, Lin Yi, and Jianhua chatted with Chen Huanying about their daily routine. If it weren't for the fragrance from afar, it would have ignited their taste buds and completely removed Coach Su from their range. It is said that if you like a man, you should start by nurturing his stomach. However, in Coach Su's family, the opposite is true. At work, he is a coach who does not speak or laugh, and even his team members have given him the nickname Demon Coach behind his back. There is also a rumor in their team that there is a devil coach living in the Demon King Academy, either shouting or cursing at them. Living a devilish life. I didn't see it with my own eyes today, and I completely don't believe that Coach Demon King would cook for them. He would be a good man at home. No wonder what you hear may not be true, only what you see in person is the most authentic, it smells so good. What is this? Jianhua couldn't resist the temptation of delicious food and leaned his head to look around. On weekdays, Jianhua is so steady that even when he sees delicious food, he becomes very unstable. Su Xian also walked out of the kitchen carrying food on a plate. Seeing Jianhua's appearance, she spoke up and replied, "This is my dad's most skilled red braised pig. I'm sure you'll never forget it in your lifetime." Listening to his daughter praising him so much, and then looking at the food, he didn't feel modest. "You child, isn't raw fish not delicious anymore? Isn't everything else delicious?" "Yummy, yummy, as long as my father's cooking is delicious." Su Xian praised his father again and again in front of them, and mischievously made a face behind him. These young men were listening to their father and daughter playing happily, while their eyes were fixed on the food in front of them. The food was really delicious. Lin Yi remembered that he had never had a sumptuous meal at home. He ate whatever his grandmother did, and his father occasionally took him for breakfast before getting married. Since getting married, he has never seen his father's shadow. Just follow Wang Yujue to mix food and drink. Wang Yujue must have eaten delicious food and drinks. I forgot about his desk mate, and I don't know if he's been bullied when he's not around. You've been bullied again in the billiards hall. Thinking about these things, he frowned. In the days without him, how are his grandmother, Wang Yujue, Xiaoyer, and father who doesn't like him all doing? Everyone sit down and eat quickly, children. Chen Huanying smiled and beckoned them to quickly take their seats. Yes, sit down quickly, just move your chopsticks. Su Jiaoyan repeated, learning from Chen Huanying's tone, as he watched his wife greet him so warmly. During training, Coach Su scolded people one after another, but as soon as he got home, his mouth became clumsy and completely different from usual, just like someone else. Everyone took their seats and began to move their chopsticks as Coach Su and Chen Huaning greeted each other. Just now, Lin Yi and Jianhua chatted with Chen Huaning for a while, and there was clearly no discomfort at the table. Delicious, what kind of pig is this called? Lin Yi couldn't help but praise Coach Su, who cooked, while holding the meat in his mouth. This meat is really delicious. This feeling is indeed what Su Xian said, unforgettable for a lifetime. There is a smell of family, which is the coach's love for the team members. Lin Yi chewed on the meat in his mouth, and he must play well and win the gold medal. Otherwise, he will never be able to forgive Su's family's warm hospitality in the future. Of course it's delicious. It took my dad 4 hours to cook the red braised pig, but he doesn't usually make it. Su Xian begged his dad for a long time, but it didn't work. Today, they had to eat it all up to them. In Su Xian's heart, his father is also a demon king coach. He is always strict with strictness on weekdays. He plays this ball incorrectly, and that ball should not be played that way. Whether at home or in the team, he is very strict with her, making her feel like she has no personal space of her own. So I decided to move into the team and live there. She usually goes home or doesn't play basketball, but Chen Huaning still spoils her a lot. Today, Chen Huaning called her to come back. Xian listened to his daughter's voice filled with complaints and quickly shouted, as a father, Coach Su understands his daughter the most and can't even stop her nagging. In front of the team members, Coach Su can only use his father's name. Mom, Coach Su is not only on weekdays but also in the team. She is very serious about her daughter and won't relax her demands just because she is her own daughter. She is the daughter of Coach Su and also a member of Coach Su's team. Su Huaning glanced at Coach Su and thought to herself that being serious on a regular basis was enough. After finally returning, Xian still put on a face in front of the team members, but Chen Huaning refused. Su Jiaoyan was very kind to his wife Chen Huaning, silently not making a sound. In order to ease the atmosphere, he handed a piece of the red braised pig he was holding to Xiaojia, Lin Yi, and Jianhua bowls. This red pork elbow needs to be cooked through various processes such as boiling, frying, steaming, and grilling. If one step of these processes is not done properly, it will affect the taste. Now, do you smell a strong aroma? When you eat it, it should be fat rather than greasy, and it will melt when you eat it. This is the ultimate secret of this dish. The three of them listened to Coach Su's explanation, and soon this plate of pig elbows had bottomed out. Training was too hard on a regular basis, and they didn't have much time to focus on eating. As long as they could eat, they just needed to hug them. Looking at this table of dishes, it's like a wolf seeing a little white rabbit, with green light in its eyes. This meal was very sumptuous and the best one that Lin Yi and Jianhua had ever had. After the three of them left, Su Xian also shouted, "Mom, I'm leaving and I'll go back to the team." Just now it was so lively, but now it has become so desolate. After they left, Su Jiaoyan went to the kitchen with a bowl and dipped his old pancakes in the leftover soup he had just finished eating. Chen Huaning walked up to Coach Su and said, "Let me heat you up." This is. Every time the coach asks the team to come over for a meal, he always asks them to eat well and fully first. I have no idea if I am not full. Dipping the pancake in the soup in his hand, no need, it's worth it for these kids and for the ping-pong career. Yes, what you say is always reasonable. If you don't want to, you have to say that I have delayed the pillars of the country. I am a sinner, you go out quickly. I will heat you up and get you out of the back end. As a wife, how could Chen Huaning not understand her husband's character? In the team, he is even more selfless than Bao Zheng, but behind the scenes, he always silently writes some things, which only she knows, not even their daughter Su Xian. At first, she was always against it, but gradually struggled and could only cooperate with him. End of this chapter.